TikTok when I dance. On that demon time, she might start her OnlyFans. Big B and that B stand for bands. If you wanna see some real ass, baby, here's your chance. I say left cheek, right cheek, drop it low this wine. Texas up in this thing, put you up on this game. I be talking my friend.
Hey guys and girls, so welcome to today's video. You can see the title. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about something that is a bit serious. Not that I haven't spoken about serious things on my channel before. Of course I have, but I'm going to be speaking about even more serious things. So I want to talk about the whole Black Lives Matter thing. I want to talk about the whole race situation in the US and in the UK. Let's get into it. Right, I got sent a video by my best friend. I think it was, when did she send me this video? Let me go on my phone. Wednesday the 27th of May. Sent a video of a young, well, he looked young to me. He was in his 40s. To me, anything under 65 is young, just my opinion. I saw, you know, this man on the floor, and I saw a cop with his knee on the man's neck. I thought, like, first of all, I got goosebumps everywhere when I watched that. You know, I could feel all my arms, I could just feel all my hair standing up in my arms, like back of my neck, like even parts of my face. Like, I just felt, am I really watching this? Like, is this actually happening? And then to hear the reaction of people behind the camera, what I was annoyed about was why didn't anybody else behind the camera step in? But I think it's also because of the fear of their lives being taken. His knee is on the man's neck for even longer. I actually didn't think like putting your knee on somebody's neck could kill them, but at the same time you're hitting certain arteries, you're crushing their airways, right? So logically, that's it, you know, you are doing exactly that, you are killing them. So I watched that video. I'm not sure what my reaction was as soon as I saw that. I know it was very negative. I had a very negative and very strong reaction when I saw that. Let me go and look at what I said at that time. Okay, so I said, that made me cry. I don't know who's training these police officers and how they're all getting away with murder. It's disgusting. That's what I said at 12:26 on Wednesday the 27th of May when I responded to that video. Okay, so of course it's fucking disgusting. Of course it's wrong. One thing I don't get about America, because as you can hear, I'm not American. What I don't understand is why, first of all, where are these cops getting their training? I did some research. I found out apparently there's I'm not sure what portion of American cops, but there are some that are getting their training from Israelis. So it just confuses me how basically someone can call the police, and the police are supposed to logically assess every situation and be like, okay, is there a weapon on the scene? Is there anybody down? Is anybody dead? You know, how many are alive? How many people are at the scene? Is there a casualty? Police are meant to assess these different things at any given situation for whatever location they're called out to, whatever, you know, wherever the dispatcher tells them they need to go. The first thing you should do when you get there is you should look for any weapons. Obviously, I understand if you do this and then all of a sudden you do that, you could have a gun, I get that. But that's why they say put your hands where I can see them. If you have a weapon, they tell you to drop it. So, you know, but what I don't get is play with a toy gun, especially if it's not a brown gun or a black gun. You can clearly see it's a fake gun. Second of all, I don't get how having your hood up automatically makes you a criminal, especially if it's a night time or it's cold. I don't get how selling cigarettes, selling CDs is the equivalent of being a murderer. All he was accused of is passing a counterfeit £20 bill. We'd call it a note. Sorry, not £20, sorry, $20. Yeah, a $20 bill that was supposedly counterfeit. And I think it was some Arab men that called the police on him. It doesn't look like a shop, like the shop that they show you. I watched a video that Netflix posted of some Asian guy talking about this whole situation, and insert a picture of the video now. You know, obviously they rang the police on George Floyd, and then you pretty much see him standing up. You see the police sort of getting his neck. The thing is, right, what I don't get, they had him in cuffs and on the floor. What exactly is he going to do? What danger does he pose when he's on the floor with his hands tied behind his back in handcuffs? Make that make sense. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I just don't get that. And then also with the Eric Garner thing, all he was doing was selling cigarettes. He was having a bit of trouble, you know, paying his bills and everything, and he just went to wherever he was going and selling some cigarettes. Or, you know, there's been times people have sold, because he was selling individual cigarettes or something like that, and someone called the cops on him for that. It's just ridiculous. Also, I feel like a lot of racist white people in America will just ring the cops, ring the police, as we call it here more commonly, ring the police just because they don't like somebody or because they have a personal problem with somebody. So they think, okay, I'm going to call the cops on this person because I know I am the white person, they are not, so the police are automatically going to be on my side. I'm sure that's not always the case, but it seems to be the case more often than not. I'm sure that's not always the case, but it seems to be the case more often than not. And then they're going to automatically see this person as a threat because of the colour of their skin, and then kill them. When I see this, when I see all of this stuff going on in America, right, I think of how I would feel if that was my mother. My mother is a black woman, right? If she was not a British black woman, if she was an American black woman, if she was a African American, I hate that term, then she could be one of those hundreds of people that have died at the hands of the police. If I was born in America, if I lived in America, one of those people that have died at the hands of the police, that could have been my mother. So let me now talk about police brutality in the UK. Okay, because we're not so innocent, guys. We are not so innocent. Everybody thinks that all of the racism is mainly in America, which, yeah, okay, it's mainly in America, but it's just that it's been around for years, in fact, over decades probably, but it's only recently started being filmed in the last, say, 10 years or so. I feel like ancient England has influenced modern day America, and modern day America is influencing modern day Britain, because everything the Americans do, we seem to follow. Even in war, when they go to war, we go with them. It kind of seems like, you know, they're well, I feel like we're the motherland and they're the daughterland, but in one way it's also the opposite. I know obviously the most recent death in the UK that's been in the news is, I think it's Belly Mujinga. She was a train driver, and a man who allegedly had coronavirus spat in her face, and days or weeks later she died. Apparently nothing's being done. They're not investigating into her death. Imagine how it would feel if you're not black. Just imagine this, right? So something happens that's unjust to you, right? Imagine no one following it up, no one chasing it up, no one trying to find out what actually happened. Say your mum or your brother or your sister or your father or your uncle or your auntie or your niece or your nephew or your cousin dies, and it's because of certain social structures in your country, certain perceptions of people of your race. So imagine feeling less than. Imagine feeling dehumanized. Imagine feeling insignificant. Just imagine that. Just imagine someone in your family dies, it's not chased up, nothing's followed up, nothing happens. Like, there's no improvement from that situation, and it keeps happening to many different people of your race. And you can't go outside looking a certain way, you can't play with toy guns, you can't run and hide in the dark, you can't, if you're struggling to pay your bills, you can't sell things in the streets. You can't do any of that. Imagine you stepped outside your house to go for a jog or to go to the park and you're shot just for being outside in the park. But then imagine that somebody else we're doing this reverse, right? So imagine the black person kills somebody and gets peacefully arrested. Wouldn't you feel frustrated? Wouldn't you feel confused? Wouldn't you feel puzzled? Wouldn't you have a lot of questions? Wouldn't you want to make sure every cop working in your local police department was fired? No? Okay, well I just wanted to give people that perspective. I wanted to reverse the roles and see if people with a lack of melanin could try and understand that. Not that you can't, you know. And also, let me also say this to all the white people watching this: you're allowed to have an opinion on what is going on. You are allowed to say whatever it is that you want to say about what is going on right now. If you think it is unjust, you can speak up. Personally, I'm not against the term people of colour, because any black person that's getting offended by the term people of colour, get the fuck off the internet. Honestly, get the fuck off the internet, because people of colour is correct. You don't just have black people and white people. People forget this. People are very narrow-minded in this world we live in. You have black people, you have white people, you have Chinese people, you have light Indians, dark Indians, you have and Asians, you have light Oriental people, a little bit darker Oriental people. You have the same thing with Mexicans. You've got white looking Mexicans, butter looking Mexicans, like, you know, with a light butter tan, like Snow the Product. You have darker looking Mexicans, Pablo Escobar, bad example probably. You know, you have light skinned Africans, you have darker Africans, you have, you know, all different kinds of races. You have mixed race people, you know, people like me that are chucked in the black box, because apparently we're supposed to completely ignore our white side. Never understood that. So yeah, people of colour is correct. So any white people watching this, if you have opinions on this whole situation, if you want to get involved, you want to, you know, support the people that need your support during this time, don't feel scared to. I feel like for a long time, white people have been very scared to voice their opinions on race if they're not racist, out of fear of being called racist. I think I'm probably right on that one. So don't feel like that. I don't want anybody to feel like that. A lot of people are probably going, I know that a lot of people have said that, you know, police brutality has been going on for a while. Why is it only now people are protesting? So I feel like from the research I've done, from what I've seen on TikTok, on YouTube, on Snapchat, on Twitter, on Instagram, I've seen that a lot of people are saying that George Floyd's death was the straw that broke the camel's back. So basically there's been so much police brutality that this was the last thing that has made people snap, and now that's why there's so much protest. But I honestly think tear gas should be banned. I really don't agree with tear gas. Like, you know, it's funny because tear gas is legal, but in some countries pepper spray that is there for self-defense is illegal. Like in the UK, pepper spray is illegal. How fucking stupid is that? How stupid are the UK lawmakers? How can pepper spray be illegal, but then tear gas is legal? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know if tear gas is legal in this country. I think it is, but you know, I know you have CS gas. I think you can spray in people's eyes. I think the police can have that, but we can't because apparently it's illegal for us to defend ourselves. Funny that, isn't it? Like the system's set up for criminals to just get away with whatever they like, and we can't defend ourselves. Great. Very political video. Right. So the next thing, years ago, people were saying all lives matter. Not many black people and people of colour were explaining that and explaining why that's wrong then, but everybody's explaining it now. So those of you who don't know, I will tell you. So saying all lives matter is basically two black people and two people of colour. It's like you're saying everybody's important, it's not just you. But what you're not hearing is that what they're saying is that black lives matter as well as other lives. So when in America, in other countries, when people of colour are treated fairly, that's when all lives will matter. I remember my friend Chris, I did a video with him, and he said that a black man goes to China, he's treated like shit. He goes to even goes to India, still treated like shit. I did not know that. I thought that a black man would be treated better in India, but you know, it's just so sad because there are so many countries, African women bleach their skin, Asian women bleach their skin, but then people want features that black people naturally have, bigger lips, you know, a bigger behind, you know, there's other things that people want that are, you know, not centric to their race. Afrocentric features, basically. A lot of Eurocentric people want Afrocentric features, but they want the lighter skin, but they want a black fish as well. But I don't know how to describe it really. It's like white people want to be black, black people want to be white. I've seen that a lot. Also in America, I feel like the divide is kind of forced. I feel like there's, you know, a black person will immediately assume that a white person is racist, and I think that's wrong. So another thing I want to say to the black people watching this, hear me out, to the black people watching this, not every white person is racist. That's the first thing. Second thing, you can't blame white people alive today for the actions of their ancestors. If you do that, you're a fucking idiot, right? So you can't blame the white people today for things that slave owners did hundreds of years ago, if not millennia ago. What happened centuries ago is not the responsibility of white people today. Did you get that? What happened centuries ago is not the responsibility of white people today. Slave owners from centuries and centuries ago are not the same people that are alive today. Yes, there are still racist people, yes. But those slave owners come from a different time, come from, you know, I will insert the dates of the slave trade. I will insert the dates it started, the date it was abolished in the UK and the US. I'll put the dates on the screen. I don't like this whole thing that a lot of black people are doing. They're automatically assuming every person who is white is racist. It's absolute fucking nonsense. You know, it's absolute nonsense. And every little thing that goes wrong, people make it about race. Not everything is about race. I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but not everything is about race. There are times when people do make things about race, and when people are discriminating on you based on your race, yes, but not everything is about. Just because someone doesn't do something, or just because you're not served as quick in a shop, or because, I don't know, someone doesn't want to date you, doesn't make them racist. So don't make everything about race. So that's the thing I want to say to a lot of black people. Also, I want to say this to end the video, because it's going to be half an hour. I've done this video soon, in less than 7 minutes. I kind of feel stuck in the middle, because I know a lot of people probably won't understand what I mean by that, because unfortunately the West, America, believes that mixed people should just completely ignore the white side of them. They should completely erase that part of them and only identify as being black. That's the most retarded way of thinking, in my opinion. The one drop rule is absolute bullshit. The 1% rule, absolute bullshit. because there are fully white people like Woah Vicky that are 25% black. So you have a problem with her calling herself black, but then you call me fully black. I don't get it. So I kind of feel stuck in the middle because I know a lot of people will cry over this because you don't like it, but I am half white and half black. You just have to accept that that's what I am. I can accept it. If you can't, that's your problem, not mine. So I kind of feel like I'm stuck in the middle here. Like, I have to speak about it because I'm half black, but I feel like I will never fully understand the struggle because there is, you know, what you would call light skin privilege. I don't always think that exists. I think in some situations it does apply, but in other situations it does not apply. You know, I feel like a lot of the deaths that happen in America, it's usually, I don't like the term light skin and dark skin, you're mixed or you're black, that's it. So I feel like a lot of the deaths in America are happening to black people, not mixed people. I'm not seeing a lot of mixed people being killed by police. I'm seeing it as, you know, a lot of black people that were unarmed. You know, I'm not seeing many mixed women or men. I'm not seeing, I don't know how many racist attacks have happened on fully black people in the UK, but I haven't really seen many mixed people. I've seen Asians who are kind of, you know, they look kind of my complexion, but they're Asian. So I've seen that. I'm sure there are some mixed Asians, but I think it's mainly full blacks and Asian that I've seen this happen to in the UK. So the UK is not so innocent after all, but my last point, well, maybe this will be my last point, let's say. The US has more overt racism. It's more obvious, more in-your-face racism. You know, South Africa as well. There's a certain part of South Africa that they give like preaching talks about how you have to keep out the black people, even though you're in Africa. You're in Africa, and people in South Africa are doing that. Can you believe it? Yes, I feel like there's more overt racism in America, and then in the UK, it's more covert racism. It's more kind of secret judgment behind people's backs. It's kind of talking about people of different races when you think they're not hearing, kind of whispering to each other sorts of things. It's kind of weird looks. It's you know, creepy crawly racism. My friend Chris that I did a collab with recently, which will be in the description, he said to me that he went into a Polish shop, because if you go to the high street these days, there's at least 1 or 2 Polish shops on every single high street almost. I mean, okay, European shop, Polish shop, whatever. Usually it's a Polish shop because it says Polski sklep or whatever it says. If it's European, it will list the different flags and it will say Russian food, Polish food, Bulgarian food. That's a European shop, but I see a lot of exclusively Polish shops. My friend said he got back from work, he was thirsty, it was a hot day, he just wanted a drink. So he went into a Polish shop. I think it was on Ilford High Street. If you know where the pub in Ilford is, next to Ilford Erskine School, there's a pub. I believe there is a red Polish shop after or before the traffic lights. I think he was talking about that shop. So he went into that shop to get a drink after work, and as soon as he walked into the shop, everyone was looking at him. A bit like when you walk into class late when you're in school, and everyone looks at you like you've killed someone. He walked into the shop, he got up to the counter, he got a drink, and they said, sorry, we don't serve your kind here. This was in 2019, this happened. Recent. This is recent. So, yeah, if you're going to run a shop, you know, you've come from outside the country, you're European, you're still white, but you're not, you know, British. Don't come into the country, run a shop, and be racist, like, when you're not from here to begin with. That's just my opinion, but yeah. So, racism is alive and well. I know a lot of people think it doesn't exist. It's not as bad as it used to be, yes, but it does still exist, and people might be sick and tired of hearing it, but how do you think the people that are experiencing it feel? Don't you think they're sick and tired? Don't you think they're fed up, you know? There's the stereotype of being loud, angry and aggressive because you're of colour. You know, it's pretty much when a woman of colour wants to speak out about something, she's labelled as aggressive. Sometimes it is about race, sometimes it's not. You're seen as, some people will see you as dirty, you know, there's all these different things people will say, you know. Even in the 70s and the 80s there was racism, you know, when there were still predominantly British owned shops, you know. If anybody of colour walked into the shop, they'd get a slur thrown at them, you know. Half caste was used only, you know, 20-30 years ago. People were still using the term half caste, people like me. Okay. Whew, I think I've said enough anyway. So if you guys are still watching up to this point, you're an absolute legend. I just feel I have a voice that I need to use. I don't want my mouth to be on hush mode. I do want to speak about this. It is important and it does need to be spoken about. I feel a lot of the points I've made in this video are very strong, and that's my personality, hence why I'm single and disliked and irritate people all the time, but do I care? Not really. So hope you've all enjoyed the video. If you're still watching up to this point, make sure you check out my TikTok. It will be in the first social media link in the description below a lot of the arrows. Will there be arrows? I don't know. Yep. You can also check out my Twitter, my Instagram. I have 2 other YouTubes, that's Jazzy J and Jazzy J Talk. I just wanted to speak about this because it's so fucking important. Okay, so that's it from me, guys. That's all I wanted to say. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've missed out in this video. You don't need to lock your door if somebody of colour, or grab your purse bag if somebody of colour walks past you. I think that's my last point. Judge someone. I can't believe I'm even saying this. I can't believe I have to say this in 2020, but history repeats itself because people are too stupid to learn from history. Don't judge somebody by the colour of their skin. Judge them on the content of their character. And I think, who said that? I think Martin Luther King. Okay, I'm done now. I'm just going to keep talking otherwise. Love, peace, and...